So here I am, taking care of all the other kids, trying to pretend like none of this happened. And it's like, I'm already looking at her like, I really need to sleep, please.
I'm terrified.
Or then tell us about the terrified.
I'm scared that my kids are gonna get taken away or something because of...
This is Woo Jin Han and Sierra Fisher, playing the role of overworked, stressed-out parents doing their best to care for their kid. But what neither of them realize is that years of case files and complaints against them have built a grim picture of life at their home.
How can you not know all this stuff? The little girl got beat to in your apartment and you don't know?
Now, Woo Jin will try to minimize what happened that night, completely unaware that Sierra has already given detectives everything they need.
Holding her up in the corner, like, with one hand. On the other hand, I saw him punch her.
And she passed away at the hospital. And I'm sorry, but she's gone.
Oh my God.
A little after 11:15 a.m. on May 29, 2025, law enforcement in Federal Way, Washington, responded to an emergency call reporting an unresponsive child inside a small apartment.
911, what are you reporting?
Hi, I think I have an emergency.
What are you reporting?
So my daughter is she's 5 years old and she stopped breathing.
Oh, what's your address? Okay. How old is she?
She's 5.
Okay, and she's not breathing?
Yes.
She is?
She isn't.
Okay, so we need to start CPR. Do you know how to do it, or do I need to tell you how?
Yes. I'm performing.
You are doing CPR?
Yes. Isn't this chest compressions and then blowing air into her?
Yes. Is she on a hard surface on her back?
First responders rushed to the apartment expecting a medical crisis. The caller sounded controlled, almost rehearsed, as paramedics forced their way past a locked bathroom door. Inside, they found a who showed no signs of life.
What happened?
So he said that right before he called 911, he was going to get her something, and she started like stumbling around, and he thought like, oh no, something must be wrong, so he went to go lay her down, and then she just stopped breathing. So they called 911.
He said, did not get here today.
Yeah, he said the last time was last night at 11. But if you look at her head, it's like...
Yeah, I can see it from here.
There's like cuts
all over her body.
Yeah.
Officers discovered 5-year-old Soo Jin Han, a kindergarten-aged daughter and big sister. Soo Jin was described as energetic, talkative, and developmentally delayed, a child who needed patience and protection. She lived in that apartment with her father and his girlfriend, entirely dependent on the adults meant to keep her safe. The apartment showed signs of chaos, furniture out of place, doors and walls damaged. Soo Jin's father, Woo Jin Han, offered an explanation almost immediately. According to him, Soo Jin became sick, acted out, and collapsed suddenly that morning. He framed the night before as difficult, exhausting, and under control. That was the version he wanted police to accept. What Woo Jin did not know was that this case would not hinge on speculation, witnesses, or forensic guesswork alone. Within hours, detectives would sit him down, turn on the cameras, and let him talk. By early afternoon, detectives separate the adults who shared that apartment. Interviews take place in different rooms at the same station. Investigators begin by letting the stories unfold naturally, allowing each person to explain events in their own words.
So you said that it's obviously been stressful with the kids being sick. Okay, so tell me, how is this, when you say it's been stressful, tell me what that means for you. What is that?
Sleepless nights.
Okay.
Like I haven't slept for like 2 days prior to leading up to today, and it was just, and then given our rental and financial situation, it was like I had to get this sleep, whereas my partner had to work, and it was just very hard to manage a lot of things.
Okay. Okay. So when I asked you what brought you in to meet with me today, you said your daughter's welfare. What specifically did you mean by your daughter's welfare? What's going on with your daughter?
No, I said my daughter's well-being.
Okay, well-being. Okay, so what did you mean by your daughter's well-being?
Because this morning when I checked on her, she was having difficulty breathing.
Okay. And help me, when you say difficulty breathing, what was it that was going on?
Just short, laborious breaths, and I noticed when it stopped, that's when I just called the paramedics.
Okay. When did you first notice that she was having that difficulty?
Around 11 o'clock this morning.
And you described them as short, laborious breaths. Anything else that you noticed going on at around that time? Okay. And then you said you noticed she stopped breathing. Okay. And when did you notice that?
Around
11:15. 11:15 this morning. Okay. And what was the very next thing that you did when you noticed that she stopped breathing?
I called the paramedics.
And then what happened?
And I was instructed to do CPR.
And then what happened after that?
Once I conducted the CPR, the officers came in and then took over.
Okay.
Listen to the framing. Everything is organized around behavior management. Discipline sounds procedural, almost bureaucratic. The emphasis stays on rules, repetition, and order. Emotion barely enters the picture. What stands out isn't what he admits, but how comfortably he admits it. The story centers on intent and authority, while consequence quietly disappears from the narrative.
And so after you told her to knock it off and lay down and go to sleep, then
She went back to sleep, and then that's when I noticed she wasn't being as playfully and energetic as she was.
okay. And how long did that last?
Only like from 11 to 11:15, like 15 minutes. So it was very hard to just shortness breathing, then all of a sudden just I didn't see any movement in the chest.
But you said she woke up numerous times between. So about how many times do you think she got up between when you initially saw her wake up the first time and 11?
Like 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, like she would have like 1 hour breaks in between.
Okay, so I'm doing my best not to put like words in your mouth. So you said 8, 9, 1 hour breaks. So maybe 3 to 4 times? Okay. And what happened each time she woke up?
Like just jumping around, just trying to do front flips, just rolling around, kicking, anything nearby.
Okay.
Just anything that's all I would do.
And what happened each time that she woke up? Like each time that she woke up, what was your reaction when she woke up?
Like just hold her down and just put her down.
Oh, sorry, say that a little louder.
Like I hold her and then like put her down, like tuck her back in.
Hold her and put her down.
Yes.
And then help me understand what you meant with gates.
Like if I don't know if you guys ever see where she slept, but like she had like a lot of like either gates around, like if there's a mattress here, there's a gate here, and she's in the corner of the wall, like so there's nothing for her to like get her off the mattress or just stuff to keep her on the mattress.
Okay, so the gates surround her mattress.
Yes.
Okay.
Is it a separate bed than what you sleep in, or same bed?
Separate bed.
Separate bed.
Yes.
You sleep in the same room with her.
Yes.
Every explanation locks him in further. He sounds confident, like being specific will protect him. But those details don't give him cover. They give detectives edges to push against. From here on out, anything that doesn't fit this version becomes a problem he won't be able to explain away. While detectives continue speaking with Woo Jin in one interview room, across the hall, they're sitting down with someone else who lived inside that same apartment.
Today I don't really know a lot of what happened. I was at work since I clocked in at 3 this morning, and I got home probably around 12:30.
Okay.
And I was just kind of like in my room, kind of unwinding from work for a little bit, and then he called me in there and said, "Open the doors for the paramedics," and that's
And who's he? I'm sorry.
Woo Jin.
Woo Jin. Okay.
Yeah.
And who's Wujin to you?
Boyfriend, but right now I'm looking into getting a protection order against him because I just found out that he hit my kids as well. Like, they just told me as we're sitting in this room, so I'm really not okay with him right now at all.
Yeah. So a boyfriend, but right now some bad stuff's happened that you
Yeah, it's no more.
No more.
Yeah.
Okay. As of today.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's start off with, you said you got off at work at what time again?
A little bit after 12, maybe like 12:10 around there.
12:10. And then you came home, and tell me what happened and everything that happened when you got home.
When I got home, I just, I don't know, I just like went into my room and did like what I usually do. Get my work clothes off, and I got like some food from the kitchen that I brought from work because I was gonna eat lunch real quick. And that's about it. I was just eating and just kind of sitting there watching TV for a minute.
Okay. And then what happened?
And then I heard him calling for me from the other room, so I went in there and just like opened the door for the paramedics. So yeah, I just went to the door and waited for them to come in.
Okay. And did he say what was wrong besides just opening the door for the paramedics?
I saw him giving CPR to Sujin, so I did something with her.
Okay. So tell me about what you observed today.
When I walked in there, she wasn't moving, and she had her eyes open, and he was giving her CPR. That's all I saw her today.
Did he say anything else to you, or?
No, he was just crying and like trying to help her and telling me to open the door.
Okay. And then what happened?
That's it. I opened the door and let the paramedics in, and I went and got my kids because I was scared and took them into the room so they don't see whatever's happening.
Yeah.
And I just shut the door and stayed in there.
All right.
Sierra makes a big point of saying she didn't know what was happening and that she stayed in her room until she was called. And though she claims she only walked in at the very end, the timeline and first responder accounts will later show that she was closer to what was happening than she lets on here.
So how's everything been at the house lately?
Not good.
What's that?
Not good.
Okay, tell me about that.
Just like, Wujin kind of out of control.
Mm-hmm.
I saw him hurting Wujin yesterday, like, I don't know, and I guess he hit my kids as well, and they all just, as we were sitting in here, they told me that and showed me a mark on their arms. Like, I didn't know about it until now, so I'm just, I don't know. He's out of control, and it was pretty, I don't know.
So tell me what he looks like when he's out of control.
I don't know. He can be like scary, like I don't know, a lot of things like I haven't witnessed him do with my eyes, but I have seen him like get mad and he'll punch holes through the wall. He has done me before, which I've reported to the police. He's also, hit my kids in the past, and that's been reported as well. And it's just, yeah, he just, I guess, likes to hit, be violent, I guess, if he gets mad or upset. And it's like if he decides not to be violent, he will lecture people for a very long time. He does that with my children quite often, like just lecturing them for hours on end, and I don't know.
Okay. And your children said that they were hit today?
They said it happened last night during dinner time.
Okay. Tell me what your children told you today. What you just found out, I guess.
So I was eating dinner in the room by myself, And he made a separate dinner for the kids because they weren't feeling well. They all had stomach issues, so he made them like soup or something. And I guess, because they're not feeling well, they weren't eating properly, and he was getting upset about it. And my kids told me that he smacked them, and they said that he hit them with a cup. So
What kind of cup?
I don't know.
Okay. And when they say hit, did they describe the hitting at all, or?
No.
When detectives ask Sierra how things have been at home, the answer comes fast. She doesn't describe a single incident. She describes a pattern. One, she says, has been getting worse and pulling more people into it. But back in the other room, Wu Jin continues to play the innocent, troubled father trying to provide for his family.
Help me understand when you say that you were feeling stressed out those past couple days with the kids being sick, what does stress typically feel like for you?
It's like constantly worrying all the damn time and just constantly worrying. Anxiety. I can't enjoy any hobby until like I see that they're 100% fine.
Okay. And then you said you guys also had some financial issues going on. Okay, help me understand what's going on with that.
I've been struggling to find work for the past 5 months.
Okay.
I've been unemployed and I've been trying to find work to help out my girlfriend, but it's just one hiccup after hiccup.
Okay.
Whether it's financial battles, kids being sick, or my girlfriend's possible divorce, ex-husband contacting us. It's just trauma after trauma after trauma.
Okay. They are divorced, like it is her ex-husband. Okay, and he's a problem. Okay.
How he's a problem is he will contact, now here's my girlfriend, very emotional and not feeling supported to partake in any activity because she just met someone in her past. So here I am, taking care of all the other kids, trying to pretend like none of this happened, and it's like I'm already looking at her like, I really need to sleep, please.
Yeah.
Wu Jin frames himself as a parent under constant strain, trying to provide while managing the challenges of a disabled child. He emphasizes responsibility and sacrifice. What he doesn't talk about yet is how that pressure showed up when no one else was watching. 2 interviews, 1 household, and very soon, the story they're telling is about to collide with news that changes everything. Back in the first interview room, detectives continue with Wu Jin, letting him reinforce the framework he's already chosen.
With everything that you have going on, because I will give it to you, this is a lot. This is a lot.
Thank you.
What does she have? Obviously, like we've talked about, she's not responding to her name. Are there other behavioral, do we have like disciplinary issues? Are there other behavioral issues? Is she acting out, like the jumping around, the somersaults, all of the like craziness that you were kind of talking about this morning? Do we have like behavioral issues? Okay, help me understand those.
If I tell her to knock off something, she'll do something that's life-threatening sometimes, like she'll either touch outlets, and
Okay.
I don't think she responds to like anger or like me going like no. So it's like I have to obviously it's escalated to the point where I have to do something harder, so she obviously knows.
Okay. So she's not as responsive to like a verbal direction.
Yes.
You feel like she's more responsive to like a physical correction.
Yes.
Okay. So when you are going to physically correct her, what types of things do you do?
I either smack her hand or I'll just smack.
Okay. Did any of that take place recently?
Last night.
Okay. Walk me through what happened last night.
She was very struggling to eat dinner, and just every behavior, just drink water and would not eat the solids
Okay.
because they claim that they're full because they drink the water. every bite she takes, or other kids too, like when they eat something they claim they don't like, they try to vomit into their plate thinking we'll get them another food, thinking they'll. So,
Okay.
just, I guess, like water, vomiting, just not eating, taking forever to eat dinner, putting food on the table and sliding it down. It's gotten so out of hand, like my girlfriend doesn't want to sit at the table with them and deal with them, and I don't even want to sit at the table and deal with them. So like we just leave them there and at the dinner table, like once we put the food there, but it just takes 2 hours and just chaos, mess everywhere, and it's just, and this is just us not being involved in screaming and pounding at them.
Watch the body language, how limited his body movement is, and how steady his cadence. This isn't panic, it's rehearsal. A framework he's relied on before. Discipline explains everything in his mind, and at this moment, no one in the room has challenged that belief. Back in the other room, though, Sierra paints a grim picture of what really was going on at home.
So, going back, you were saying something about you saw him hit someone yesterday?
Yeah.
Tell me about that. As much detail as you can.
Yeah, so pretty much she was on the toilet because she was having like stomach issues, diarrhea, and she wasn't sitting still on the toilet, like getting up, down, like making a mess. And he got mad. I saw him pick her up like against the wall and punch her in the stomach.
Pick her up and hold her.
Yeah.
Can you
like,
kind of show me like that wall there?
Yes. Like if my backpack was her,
Yeah.
holding her up in the corner, like with one hand, like that, you know, and the other hand I saw him punch her, like in the gut, you know.
And how many times did he do that?
I don't know, probably 3 or 4 times.
Okay. And what did Sue do?
She was crying, and I don't know, I was scared. He told me to just go away, so that's what I did. And,
Sure.
yeah. I mean, I do know that was wrong. I should have called the police, reported it.
I mean, yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah.
You were scared, so that's understandable.
By this point, detectives already have more than a sad 911 call. They have Sierra's admission. Officers have also been back to the apartment, and they've returned with photos and seen injuries that don't line up with what Wu Jin is describing. They also have prior history in their system and paperwork showing concerns that didn't start this week. Wu Jin doesn't know how much of that has already landed on the table.
So we just wanted to know a little bit more about the actual food poisoning. So remind me, you said who initially came down with that? How did that start?
I think it started with with Sierra's kids. Like,
And then I'm super sorry. So unfortunately, I am probably going to have to ask you to speak up just a little bit. Otherwise, and this is probably the biggest issue, is eventually when I do have to go back and rewatch this, I want to make sure I accurately portray what you say. And if I can't hear you on the recording, then it's harder for me to do that. And so I probably am going to have to ask you to speak. So
I understand. So, the food poisoning started with Sierra's youngest kid, Michael, I believe, because he started showing signs of vomiting in the beginning. And then the next day, like the oldest,
okay.
she started showing symptoms of diarrhea and vomiting.
And what was it that you think made them sick?
Possibly exposure to someone at school, because when I called the school, they were giving me a heads up, like something was going around, like this virus. And as for Ruby, she attended a concert event with her mom, and she told me she ate something that was funny, like sushi.
Okay. So you think maybe wasn't food poisoning, but like actual sick?
Yes.
Okay.
So it was hard to determine.
Okay. And then kind of help me understand, what were all of the different symptoms that like everybody had?
Was vomiting, and here and there diarrhea, was definite diarrhea, and vomiting only after meals for some reason. It was either one or the other, vomit or diarrhea.
Okay.
And we only have 2 bathrooms, so it was very hard to manage everybody having their own turn, like when they all went off at once. So it was very hectic.
And you said you had vomiting and diarrhea.
Yes.
And was your daughter having the same symptoms?
Diarrhea in the diaper.
Do you think that was from the food poisoning too? Well, you said the food poisoning for the other kids happened at their school,
Yes.
but your daughter doesn't go to school.
Like maybe just being in contact with the other sick kids. But I don't know.
This is set up by design. Detectives let him paint the medical backdrop in high detail because every detail becomes a handle later. He's trying to make the chaos sound normal, like the house was just overwhelmed. But the more he talks, the clearer it gets. Soo-Jin's world stayed inside that apartment, and the adults were the only constants around her.
For the past week or so, let's just say like for the last 7 days, has anyone else watched Ian? Has she been like sat by anyone else? Just you and Sierra? She hasn't been, has she been alone with anyone else? Any other adults? Any caretakers? Any sitters? Nothing. She doesn't go to school. She doesn't go to a doctor very often, right? Does she have a babysitter how often does she leave the apartment?
Whenever I go to the park or whenever I check the mail, I just
When was the last time she left the apartment?
before everybody got sick.
But when?
Like 5 days.
Okay. And what did she leave the apartment for?
We went to the park and we were playing kickball.
Okay. And what about before that? When was the last time she left the apartment before that?
Whenever we go to store runs.
Okay. But she wasn't left alone with any like caretakers or anything. She doesn't go to a regular like sitter or anything like that. Okay. And does she take any regular medications? Any supplements or vitamins or anything like that?
Does Pediasure count?
Sure. Yeah.
Pediasure.
Is it like the liquid?
Yeah, that chocolate milk thing.
Okay. But no like medications or like any kind of over the counter like okay Flintstones vitamins or anything like that. Okay. I don't even know if they make those anymore.
They're disgusting.
Yeah, those were so bad. Tastes like actual chalk.
It tastes like rocks.
Yeah, for sure.
This is where the story tightens. Detectives don't have to accuse him of anything. They just reduce the number of maybes until there aren't many left, and Woo Jin keeps agreeing with the premise. Only him, only Sierra, mostly inside. Barely any medical care. That's a box he's stepping into on his own.
Just one more time so I can make sure, because I feel like earlier I kind of, and this is my bad, earlier I kind of had you jumping around a little bit, and so I just want to make sure that like I don't mess anything up. Walk me through this morning just one more time, kind of the timeline, because I don't want to mess anything up, and then I know you had mentioned maybe like the hours were kind of off or something, so just walk me through in your own words and try not to leave anything out. Just walk me through it.
Okay, I won't, but like I want to help with this. So from the time I called to the paramedics, that's 15 to 10 minutes before that I made that phone call. That would be between 12:40 to 12:20ish, because Sierra was home when I made this phone call. So those time frames, like, forgive me on that. So, and again, like, this was my first time having a good sleep, like, as with all this happening. So I'm still trying to like, but this surgeon did wake up multiple times to let me know, like, hey, I'm up, like, got energy. And then, yes, I would put her back down, like gently to let her go back to sleep. And I even got one of my oldest daughter to help me, like, if I was changing her, and that's when I started noticing. And then that's when I told her to leave, and then I made the phone call to the paramedics.
Okay.
Well, maybe what would make us understand better is when everything from this morning on, maybe not backwards, maybe start from this morning, like when you first remember waking up, or
So I woke up, because she woke me up. I put her back down, so she goes back to sleep. I take my little power nap so I can go back to sleep again. I wake up again because she was flipping around, like banging on everything. I try just to ignore this because she's just probably gonna tire herself out and just go back to sleep. I wake up again. This time she was still asleep. So like I was just looking at her, thinking like she's finally like out of it. Like no more energy, like no more flipping around, none of this. So I was watching her. But then I decided to change her. And that's when I called my oldest daughter to like help me, like, hey, can you bring me a second pamper? And she was watching me as I did this, and that's when I noticed she wasn't standing still, like she wasn't having balance. So I was like, okay, something's off. So I told my daughter to leave. I put her back down after I gave her some Pedialyte, and then I kept a close watch on her for the 15 minutes, and that's when I noticed she stopped breathing, and then I panicked and I called paramedics.
Okay.
I understand there's a lot of time gaps, but the person that was closest to me, moments to leading up to that, was me.
Okay.
Notice how the timeline shifts from she was fine to she deteriorated fast, and it's all anchored to his actions: picking her up, putting her down, watching her, deciding when to check her. If the timeline is real, it holds up when you replay it. If it's patched together, it starts to change under pressure. Things were about to get much worse for Wu Jin because detectives were done accepting the just sick story and bring up his history with detective services.
You met with the caseworker from CPS. What are some things they told you? Like things that they told you might happen, or things that they told you, like concerns that they had, or like what are things that the caseworker talked to you about?
Just told me no hitting, especially something with a stick, no hitting. And he hurt, and then okay, my CPS caseworker is trans, so I'm confused on how to ask or relate to this. So it's one of those like that he wanted to find out what was wrong with me, and I told everything, like financially this, and he just gave me the resort of he can't hit.
Okay.
I didn't get any resources or like phone numbers for daycares or this. Hey, if you're struggling, get a ride here. There's this places you could take.
Yeah.
I was just given the alternative. You can't hit.
Yeah. So basically, he told you what not to do, but you don't feel like you've got any actual assistance on what to do. Okay.
So now here's all the pressure and all the anxiety and all this problem still happening, occurring, and I'm just reacting to it like as if it's new. And what about resourceless and all these strangers telling me you can't be doing this, and I don't know how to ask for help too.
Okay. What does Sierra ever discipline? Like,
Yes.
does she ever discipline her?
Yes.
What kind of things does Sierra do to discipline her?
Same thing I do.
The same thing?
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Like with her hand. I haven't physically watched her do it, but I can hear the sounds, and I can hear my daughter screaming.
Okay. Tell me What does it sound like?
I told you to knock it off! I'm sick of it!
Okay. Does Sierra discipline her own in that way?
No.
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 Why do you think she disciplines that way but not her own kids that way?
Because I don't know. I really want to know what is the reason.
I feel like you probably have a suspicion, right? Like, what would your suspicion be?
Possible vendetta against my daughter?
This wasn't the first time concerns had been raised about Wu Jinhan's care. CPS records show a pattern stretching back years. In August of 2020, reports came in over medical neglect and custody disputes as Sujin's mother was hospitalized with cancer. In October of 2020, doctors reported missed feeding tests and failures to bring Sujin to appointments. In September of 2021, a physician flagged misimmunizations after Han left a clinic mid-visit. By November 2022, police documented prior admissions that Han had beaten with a stick. Each intake was screened out or closed. The concerns, however, never stopped.
Part of the CPS report is that multiple doctors have tried to get a hold of you multiple times regarding some medical concerns for your daughter, and that it's documented that either you just hung up on the doctor or no-showed to appointments or refused to comply with medical care, and that you were, possibly being looked at for medical neglect. So when you say you don't really know what was wrong with her, I mean, it sounds like you didn't want to know what was wrong with her.
That's exactly what you just said.
Okay, well, it sounds like that's a huge point of a lot of your stress. So, why would you not want?
Because that's exactly how I found out with my wife.
Listening to doctors is how you found out.
Yes. I just didn't want. I wasn't ready for that hospital environment, the scenario, just reliving all that again. And this time alone. And a lot of them were in Seattle and recommended a lot of treatments to continue in Seattle. And that was either in Puyallup or Federal Way, so the distance was an issue. And after my wife's recovery process with the whole hospital with that cancer, I just haven't had a good insight on hospitals. Not any good fond memories or any hopes for them. Because if they've failed my wife, and she's an adult who's fighting, so just. I know it's stupid, but it was like severe doctor fear.
Detectives use a classic technique here. They offer him an explanation that sounds human: fear, stress, trauma, because it lowers his guard. At the same time, they're pinning down what can be proven on paper. He can argue feelings all day. He can't argue documented contact attempts. And he finally admits to beating her.
When these things would happen with Sue, and you would get so frustrated. Like last night when all of this happened with the cup, or with tying her up and hitting her in the ribs and the cup and all of it. What were you hoping would happen? I mean, what were you hoping would be the outcome of beating her like that? I mean, what were you?
She just stops this bad behavior and she just does the right thing.
But what is the right thing? That she stops having diarrhea? I mean, how is beating her going to help her stop having diarrhea?
No, like stop like tilting the porta potty or like just simple bad behaviors.
But you said she doesn't even understand, she can't even comprehend how to respond to her own name. And so how, I guess what I'm failing to put together, and I'm not judging you, I'm trying to understand, because I'm not in your home every day. And so I just want to understand, okay? She's almost 6. And by 6, a lot of kids can talk. I'm sure you have another 6-year-old in your house. So you see the two of them side by side. You have to know there's a difference between the two. You know, one of them is still in diapers. One of them, I'm sure, has been potty trained for years. One of them is likely in school. One of them is not. One of them is probably carrying on complete conversations in full sentences. One of them is using talk. One of them cannot even comprehend to respond to her own name. And yet, we're frustrated with her because she can't sit still on the potty, but she's 6 years old and still in diapers. And so when you say the point of the beating is to correct her bad behaviors, I'm asking you, as her father, did it ever occur to you, as the adult in the situation, who hasn't taken her to a doctor in 4 years, even though that CPS had a case against them for possible medical neglect, that maybe there is something actually physically and or mentally wrong with my child, that she can't help this. And so beating her for this because I'm frustrated with her is not going to make it better.
This is where the tone shifts. They stop talking about symptoms and start talking about purpose. The question is simple. What outcome did you think violence would create? He tries to answer with better behavior, but it doesn't fit the he's describing. A kid who can't communicate needs medical help and protection, not punishment. And every time he repeats the goal, detectives bring it back to reality. Beating her doesn't teach her. It just hurts her. And now, the detective will give Wu Jin news that he won't be able to handle.
So last night, when this happened, when we beat her with the cup, and we beat her when she was tied to a toilet, what were you hoping would be the outcome of that?
Just thought she was going to get better, but I guess that's not please you.
What do you mean, get better?
I just wish that she would stop taking it and stop doing these bad behaviors, but again, I should have been more understanding.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what, you got your wish. I'm very sorry to have to be the one to tell you this.
No. No.
Paramedics did everything that they could. But upon arrival at the hospital, your daughter succumbed to her injuries.
Oh my goodness.
And she passed away at the hospital. And I'm sorry, but she's gone.
Oh my god.
This is the pivot point. Up until now, he can hide inside language, stress, discipline, structure. But once the death is said out loud, every detail he already admitted turns heavy. Detectives don't rush it either. They let silence do the work, because silence forces a suspect to fill the space, and filling the space is where people start telling on themselves. Eventually, after he processes the reality of the situation, the other detective pushes him back to Sierra.
And speaking of Sierra, like I'm just trying to, like my partner here, we're just trying to understand, you know, looking back, just trying to understand everything. And you had said that she disciplines also. Does that include hitting? Like how? Hitting how?
With her hand.
Okay. Has she ever used an object?
Not that I've seen, but
Okay. And was she hitting Ian with her hand last night?
yes.
On the when was she doing that?
Dinner table, and when she was tied up in the porta potty, we were just tired of cleaning the diarrhea.
Sure. Okay.
So I just,
I'm sure you were both very frustrated at the time. And was she? Can you describe how she was hitting her?
just like, you know,
Like with a closed fist too?
no, like open palm.
Open palm? Where was she doing that on her?
It would vary where it lands.
Okay. So
Everywhere.
everywhere? Face?
Wherever it lands.
Okay. Well, I don't know. I wasn't there. You said wherever it lands. Like you saw where they landed. I wasn't there. And so they landed on her arms. Where else?
Body.
Mm-hmm.
That's it.
Face?
No face.
No, just
She would never hit the face.
hands and body.
She would never hit the face.
Okay. And had she done that before yesterday too? Like in discipline
Like weeks ago, yes.
weeks ago?
He's trying to do two jobs at once, confirmed what happened in the apartment, and keep distance from responsibility. That's why the answers sound messy. You can hear him slide between, yes, that happened, and I didn't see it, even though he's giving details only someone in the room would know. Detectives stay calm and keep him talking, because the more he explains, the less room he has to later claim confusion. Next, they move on to the bathroom scene.
Okay, so I'm just trying to picture your bathroom, how this would actually look. So, and I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, okay? Tell me if I'm wrong.
So if I'm gonna use that door right there. So the pull-up bar was on the very top, and then her potty was in between the door.
That makes
so
sense.
she just goes like this.
Okay.
And the reason why she's tied up, and why I tied it to like this, so she can't like do
Right.
this and this or this. Like it's just to the point where she just can't.
Okay, that makes sense. I think I was picturing like an actual toilet with like the potty on it or something, and I was just trying to, how does physically that doesn't seem possible, but okay.
Yeah.
So that makes sense if it was under a door.
And so we first did this method thinking this would work, but then after like 3 successful diarrhea sessions, and remember, we didn't resort to thinking doing this first. It was like 3 diarrhea sessions. We tried to feed her something. She did eat, and it's like, okay, let's just let her process this maybe. seems like we can't enjoy any activity because every 20 minutes she would just go off. So it's like, okay, so someone has to be with her, and here's these other kids going, hey, can you watch this, or hey, so-and-so threw up. I think we even lost it and told all the kids to stay in one room, and we took all the mattresses out, anything that's clothes, fabric, so the only thing we have to clean is just the carpets. Like, me and Sarah got so tired of all the cleaning up, like, we literally moved everything out just so they can just feel better.
Sure.
And then, so we resorted to that because it was just getting out of hand with the fecal, like just putting in her teeth, like rubbing in the walls, and just, after we did that, she started doing stuff with her feet, like trying to like kick stuff, and then Sarah resorted to tying her because she started to do this. And then she actually tipped the potty over, and Sarah's seeing the poo drip everywhere, and she's like, ah, and I'm like, that's okay, I got this, I'll clean it up, if anything, just how can we make her stay here without her making this mess? I even asked her, and then she was in the state of panic. Obviously, it's not going to say anything nice, so let's just tie her up
So it was her idea to tie her up.
in the legs. But I suggested, like, let's just tie the hands. She doesn't.
This is why detectives love show-me questions. A suspect can argue feelings all day. They can't argue geometry. Once he demonstrates the setup, discipline stops being a concept and starts being a scene. A small kid restrained in a bathroom. While Wu Jin gets boxed in on one side of the station, detectives sit down with Sierra again. Same home, same night. But now the questions are sharper because his version is already on record.
I don't want to know if he did anything that night when I wasn't there. I don't want to know.
And I apologize. Obviously, I'm not trying to make you upset, but my job is to get down to the truth of what happened to her, right?
Yeah.
And so I really, knowing him and his anger and his issues and everything else, it would be a big coincidence to me, you coming home at 12:30, her sleeping for like 16, 17 hours.
I agree with you, yeah.
Him telling you, don't go in there. And then a half an hour later, he's on the phone to 911.
I feel like something happened that night when I was gone and I don't know what it was. Or that morning, I don't know.
Okay. What is your opinion? Do you think she was probably in that room? And do you think, if you had to guess, do you think she was probably dead in that room when you got home from work?
Knowing what I know now, maybe. I feel like maybe he did know something and he didn't want me to go in there.
Okay.
Or maybe he didn't want to believe it himself. I really don't know.
Okay.
But it is, I do think that because of him telling me don't go in the room. Because why else would he have said that? And I don't know, I just thought it was, I honestly thought at the time it was because she was like sick and sleeping. I thought she was actually sleeping in because that's what he had told me.
This is the moment Sierra stops being adjacent and becomes a direct witness to what happened in that apartment. The key isn't just that she's describing restraint. It's that her details line up with the physical explanation Wu Jin already gave. And once two separate interviews land on the same scene, the story hardens. It stops being a he said, she said. Wu Jin has a problem he can't talk around. The death is real. The restraint is described in detail. And Sierra is no longer staying vague. He can keep minimizing, or he can finally say what these details add up to. And the next stretch of this interrogation decides which one he chooses.
So what happened? Why, between when she, this morning, like, you understand our concern, like what really happened, okay? something happened that made her deteriorate so quickly. We want to understand what that is.
I understand. I wish I could tell you, but I don't.
You can tell us.
Especially, so now that our officers have come back from your apartment, right? Like, you say that over the last couple days she didn't get any hits to her head or anything like that. And she does have that one that you had mentioned from the wall. But they've mentioned and they've brought us photos, and there's bruising. There's that one, but then there's a couple of different bruises to multiple different points on her head. And so it's not just that one little cut. I mean, there's multiple bruises to multiple points on her face. And so my concern is that it wasn't just that one. And so help me understand why there would be different bruises and different spots on her head.
It's because she keeps flipping, like, untying. I know it's hard to believe, but it's, like, Sarah could probably tell you too.
Okay.
Like, she does toss and turn, like, very frequently. Like,
My other thought is, obviously you've been, like you said, you want to be honest and you want to tell the truth, and I think that's very commendable. And like you said, obviously we all know the truth of what's going on here right now, and we know at this point, obviously, the seriousness of what's going on. And so at this point, there's going to be a lot of doctors and a lot of people who are a hell of a lot smarter than I am involved in this process, looking at your daughter, and they're going to be able to look at her, and they are going to be able to tell us things about her life and about things that have happened to her based on things that they find on her person, right? So if there's anything else that you want to talk to us about, I think it would be very smart for you to take this opportunity to continue to be honest and have that integrity and come clean about that now, because one way or another she will tell us.
what were you asking the question?
Mm-hmm.
What were you asking?
If there's anything else that happened to her.
By this point, detectives stop talking about events in general terms and start narrowing the lens. They already know what happened the night before. What they're listening for now is whether Wu Jin will keep listing symptoms or whether he'll finally connect cause to effect.
What do you think killed her?
Probably the beatings from last night.
When you say the beatings from last night, where were you hitting her hard enough that you think, I mean, the ribs, the chest, like where were
I
you
think the ribs.
hitting her?
I think the ribs, maybe.
Okay.
So they're going to do an autopsy on her. Okay. Like she was saying, they're going to find what if she has skull fractures, or what if she has something else. How would we account for that?
Or anything in her neck. Or that's what I'm asking you, is if there's anything else that you need to tell us right now,
Yeah.
this would be the time to do that. Anything.
It doesn't have to be a punch or a kick or whatever. It could be anything. There's a lot of ways that little girl might have died. If it was, there's indications if she was If something was obstructed her breathing, you know, they're going to know that too. Are they going to see that? Not that you know of. You're a father, man. You got to take ownership of your kid. Okay? Alive or dead, you got to take ownership of your kid and what happened to her. So tell us right now what happened to her. Huh? You do know.
At face value, it seems like a clear confession, but the detectives dig deeper because something is still not adding up. Reports would show that Sue Jin had multiple bruises and lacerations on her head, something Wu Jin will refuse to acknowledge. A week later, detectives will bring in Sierra's mother, Jonetta Holton, into the station and give her the full rundown of what happened that evening, exposing the horror of it, and also implicating Sierra for being there, seeing it happen, and doing nothing.
And so Susan was tied. Her hands were tied together, and then they were tied to a bar hanging from the ceiling. And she was left like that for maybe 3.5 hours. And she was tied to a toilet, like a kid's training toilet. And she was still kind of moving around and wouldn't sit still on the toilet. And so Jin got really upset and proceeded to strike her multiple times.
It said he punched her in the stomach with his full force.
Yep. And Sierra demonstrated for me how he hit her by pinning her backpack against the wall and hitting it, indicating to me that she would have witnessed that. And then she was retied to the toilet and left there for a while longer. And then the kids all went out to dinner at the dining room table. And Jin was still angry about something. So at the dining room table, Jin was beaten some more. He was beaten. Was beaten. All of the kids basically that night were beaten, but was beaten to the point that we basically, we don't know, but we're waiting on the medical examiner's report. All three described seeing Jin tied up and seeing her hanging from the ceiling. Described seeing her beaten, and described seeing each other assaulted at dinner, and described Sierra being home during that time, and casually eating her dinner in another room in the home, and knowing all of this was going on.
I did not know that.
And this is very par for the course for daily life in that apartment.
After his interview, Wu Jianhan was arrested and booked into the King County jail system. Prosecutors moved quickly. He was charged with first-degree of a minor, second-degree of a minor, and additional counts involving the other in the apartment. Bail was set at $5 million. Sierra Ruby Fisher was charged separately. Prosecutors accused her of first-degree of a minor and third-degree for her own actions inside the home. Her bail was set at $100,000. These were no longer theoretical charges. They reflected what investigators believed happened behind that bathroom door. Both defendants entered not guilty pleas. The cases are moving through the court system with hearings scheduled and evidence still being reviewed. Medical findings, witness statements, and recorded interviews will all play a role as prosecutors prepare to present the case. What's already set is the foundation. The timeline didn't come from speculation or guesswork. It came from the people who lived in that apartment and the words they chose to say when the cameras were on. A 5-year-old didn't die because help was out of reach. She died because of the actions of the parents who were supposed to keep her safe. Whether or not justice will be served remains to be seen, but based on the statements given by Woo Jin Han and Sierra Ruby Fisher, it certainly seems likely that they will not be walking free anytime soon. Now that you've heard what was said in that interrogation room, do you think the charges reflect what actually happened to Soo Jin Han? Let me know what you think in the comments. And if this breakdown was helpful, make sure to subscribe and like the video.